Good morning. Good morning. I'm Dottie Storer, and I am joined this morning by Reverend Doug Watkins, our interim lead minister, and members of the Climate Justice Committee, who will present today's message. I'm so pleased to welcome all of you to our worship service this morning. Whether you are here on site or watching from home, we are united in one community. This is a liberal religious community of spiritual seekers. We welcome you in the fullness of your age, race, ethnicity, your ways of being in body and mind, your gender expression, sexual orientation, and religious background. Our core values are freedom, reason, respect, and love. If you are visiting for the first time, a special welcome to you. There are so many things you could have chosen to do this morning, and you've chosen to be with us. I hope you feel warmly welcomed, and that today's message speaks to you, and that we will see you again. If you are here in person, fill out the guest form that you received on the way in, both sides if you have children, so we can stay in touch with you. If you didn't get one, please ask for one after the service. If you're visiting online, let us know you're here by emailing welcome@eliotchapel.org so that we can personally welcome you to this beloved community. We hope you will join us for coffee hour in Adams Hall after the service. Come forward and to the right. If you're new here, we invite you to take a blue cup. If you're not new, we invite you to look for folks with blue cups and say hello. We also have a Zoom coffee hour at 12:30 today. Look for the link in the weekly Zoom email.
We begin our service, as many Unitarian Universalist congregations do, with the lighting of the chalice. We light this chalice this morning in the spirit of the seventh principle. We covenant to affirm and promote respect for the interdependent web of existence of which we are a part. We'll begin this morning with a time together of chanting that will then lead into our opening words. Lynn will teach us the chant.
In several stanzas, we're only going to do two. The earth is our mother. For those who remember being in my 5th grade class when I taught Native American spirituality, it's a familiar tune. For everyone else, it'll be new, which is nice. It starts, the earth is our mother, we must take care of her. The earth is our mother, we must take care of her. The refrain is, hey, younga, ho, younga, hey, young, which the kids like. Hey, younga, ho, younga, hey, young. The second verse is her sacred ground we walk upon with every step we take. Her sacred ground we walk upon with every step we take. So, and those who are on Zoom, you're welcome to sing along, but you'll need to do it on mute because the reverberation is really a lot too much on Zoom. I've tried it with my covenant group and it doesn't work well. So everybody likes singing on mute, that way other people don't hear them. So you can try and sing along with us. It starts off, the earth is, I'll sing a line, you sing a line. The earth is our mother, the earth is our mother, we must take care of her. We must take care of her. The earth is our mother, the earth is our mother, we must take care of her. We must take care of her. Hey, young, ho, young, hey, young. Hey, young, ho, young, hey, young. Hey, young, ho, young, hey, young. Hey, young, ho, young, hey,
Our opening words are taken from a youth prayer.
Teach me humility, as blossoms are humble with beginning. Earth, teach me caring, as the mother who secures her young. Earth, teach me courage, as a tree which stands alone.
Earth, teach me limitation, as the ant which crawls on the ground. Earth, teach me freedom, as the eagle which soars in the sky. Earth, teach me resignation, as the leaves which die in the fall.
Earth, teach me regeneration, as the seed which rises in the spring. Earth, teach me to forget myself as melted snow forgets its life. Earth, teach me to remember kindness, as dry fields weep in the rain.
And so we gather for worship and rise in the ways that we do and sing together our opening hymn, For the Beauty of the Earth.
In the fourth verse, instead of sister, brother, we sing sibling, kindred.
Please join me in the reading of our congregational covenant found in the order of service. As a free congregation, we promise to one another our mutual trust and support. To create beloved community, we promise to be kinder to each other than we have to be. To listen fully to each other with an open mind and heart. To seek responsibly and respectfully, to find ways to improve our church for all members and friends.
learn maybe some of the wisdom that Earth Day has taught us over time. How does that sound?
Sounds amazing.
Okay, so everyone will get to be part of this, every single person in this room. So here's the setup. We are going to pretend like this room is the entire planet. So we are now a microcosm, meaning a smaller version of the whole world and all that we do together. And every single person here represents the entire population on this planet. So we are going to think about, there is an idea out there that we all have the ability to access our own success and happiness and get the things that we need, that we all are able to do that. And on Earth Day, we think in particular about the ways that we're able to interact with the planet, all of its resources, etc. And so we're going to try an experiment to see how that works for us. So what I'm going to ask you, each and every one of you to do is you should have on your chair somewhere 2 sheets of paper, so take one of them. And the instructions are very, very simple. We are all going to participate in restoring the planet by recycling together. So what you need to do is you just need to crumple that already recycled piece of paper. And from your chair, sitting where you are, you need to get it into this bin. Very simple. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Wow! There are 3 pieces of paper. So what happened? Why didn't you all recycle? You had the chance to do so. What happened? You can say out loud. You missed. Yes, you did. So did everyone have exact same access to that bin? Was it as easy for everyone to get into that bin? No? Well, so what's wrong with that? What is the word I'm looking for that this describes? Scott, what am I trying to think of?
Well, Doug, I think the word that you're looking for is privilege.
Oh, yeah, I thought so.
Privilege means having unearned access to benefits and advantages based on one's membership in a social group or a characteristic of their identity. For some people in the world, they are privileged to live in places that have easier access to essential resources like food and water. And while other people may live very close to these life-giving resources, they may still not have easy access because the resources are moved to areas where people live who have more money and more privilege.
So for some of us, money and location may be a way that we're privileged. I wonder what other ways there are privilege out in the world that we earn, we do not earn, but we receive extra benefit. What are some of the other ways?
Well, there's a lot of them. Education level, gender, sexual orientation, our socioeconomic status, race, religion, physical abilities, and country of origin are just some of the factors that contribute to privilege or lack thereof.
Yeah, important to remember.
So, Doug, I wonder, since everyone has had 2 pieces of paper, if there's a way we might make this experiment a little more fair.
Yeah, what would you do?
What do you think might make it more likely that you could all get access to the recycle bin?
Wow, these are Unitarian Universalists. Yeah, so why don't we try something that allows us all to work together to do that. So I invite you once again to crumple your paper. There's paper around you too. We can also help take care of the planet. And let's pass it. I know that there are people upstairs. There may actually be an envelope up there that you can use to collect all of your crumpled pieces of paper and bring them down. like the choir also has. So as we're collecting these various pieces of paper, it reminds me that one of the big lessons about Earth Day is that there are at least two levels of the work that's important. We each have individual things that we can do to make a big difference in our own lives. But we know more and more how important it is the ways that we partner with each other and work together, because we are all different circumstances in our lives. So it's good for us to come together as a community and learn together and work together. So thanks for taking part in our little experiment today. We look forward to finding out what else you learned today as you go to your classes. We'll sing you out as you go to your class now. I invite us for a few minutes to quiet our hearts and minds and be together as a community in a moment of contemplation. We'll use the poetry of John O'Donohue, but let's begin, as we often do, by grounding ourselves, centering ourselves here, being aware of your breath, being aware of your connection to your seat and your feet on the earth itself, being aware of all of the souls around you that extend out into the world, connecting us, one and all. John O'Donohue wrote, "Let us bless the imagination of the earth that knew early the patience to harness the mind of time, waited for the seas to warm, ready to welcome the emergence of things dreaming of voyaging among the stillness of land, and how light knew to nurse the growth until the face of the earth brightened beneath a vision of color. When the ages of ice came and sealed the earth inside an endless coma of cold, the heart of the earth held hope, storing fragments of memory ready for the return of the sun. Let us thank the earth that offers ground for home and holds our feet firm to walk in space open to infinite galaxies. Let us salute the silence and certainty of mountains, their sublime stillness, their dream-filled hearts. The wonder of a garden, trusting the first warmth of spring until its black infinity of cells becomes charged with dream. Then the silent, slow nurture of the seed's self, coaxing it to trust the act of death. The humility of the earth that transfigures all that has fallen of outlived growth. The kindness of the earth, opening to receive our worn forms into the final stillness. Let us ask forgiveness of the earth for all our sins against her, for our violence and poisonings of her beauty. Let us remember within us the ancient clay, holding the memory of seasons, the passion of the wind, the fluency of the water, the warmth of fire, the quiver touch of the sun, and shadowed sureness of the moon, that we each may awaken to live to the full the dream of the earth, who chose us to emerge and incarnate its hidden light in mind, spirit, and light. Before we end this time, let's spend just a moment of quiet, holding our own thoughts and prayers. Before we enter that space, if there is someone that you are holding in your mind and heart this morning, I invite you to speak their name now. Before we enter into the silence, we also hold in mind late in the week the sad news that Bob Spargo died this week. And so we hold the Spargo family and friends in our thoughts as we move into this time of quiet together. For all that is our life, we offer prayer, gratitude, for it is all required for us to be fully alive, fully connected, fully who we are. This and more we hope and pray in the name of love. Amen, and blessed be. I invite us to remain seated and join together in hymn number 15, The Lone Wild Bird.
Every Sunday, Eliot Chapel shares half of our offering with an organization in the community that works, whose work reflects our shared values. This is one way that we care for our community. and our neighbors. In April, we will share our offering with the Teen Pregnancy and Prevention Partnership, which unites communities across Missouri to promote adolescent sexual and reproductive health. They educate parents, professionals, and the community at large. They collaborate with stakeholders, including school districts, legislators, faith leaders, youth serving, and healthcare professionals. They advocate for and protect teens' rights to accurate, high-quality sexual health information and reproductive and sexual health services. And they support teens' self-determined ability to live healthy and fulfilling lives. See teenpregnancy-mo.org to learn more. Let us be good neighbors as we take our offering. Let us be a generous people. Beautiful, David. Thank you. As the greeters come forward with the offering, I invite you to join me in the dedication of gifts found in the order of service. To the work of the church, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action, we dedicate our lives and these our offerings.
The first reading this morning is taken from the poetry of Rebecca Baggett, entitled Testimony for My Daughters. I want to tell you that the world is still beautiful. I tell you that despite children raped on city streets, shot down in schoolrooms, despite the slow poison seeping from old and hidden sins into our air, soil, water, despite the thinning film that ensures our aching world, despite my own terror and despair, I want you to look again and again to recognize the tender grasses, curled like a baby's fine hairs around your fingers, as a recurring miracle, to see that the river rocks shine like God, that the crisp voices of the orange and gold October leaves are laughing at death. I want you to look beneath the grass, to note the fragile hieroglyphs of ants, snail, beetle. I want you to understand that you are no more and no less necessary than the brown recluse, the ruby-throated hummingbird, the humpback whale, the profligate mimosa. I want to say, like Neruda, that I am waiting for a great and common tenderness, that I still believe we are capable of attention, that anyone who notices the world must want to save it. Here ends our reading. Thank you, choir, David, Adam. So this Earth Day service was planned in more of a collaborative style than some Sundays bring about. And throughout the country, more and more congregations are doing more worship that has a more collaborative understanding. What we've learned over time is that no matter how well put together or how carefully thought out a service is prepared by one person, it always comes more or less from their own worldview, their own perspective. And that part of what we seek to do is to expand what is possible, what we can know, how we can explore important topics. And so this service has had a lot of input in terms of its planning, but also in terms of the voices that come before you. So for a few minutes, we will have different reflections. Flo Reeves will start with a reflection, and then Terry Jones, and then I will come up last with some thoughts about Earth Day. But there is a reflection, a parallel between the way we do this worship and the work of caring for this planet, the needs for many voices, perspectives, and hands. We'll think about that more later. We begin with Flo Reeves.
For this year's Earth Day service, with the men's advance being held out at Bergfried this weekend, we decided to share with you how Bergfried contributes to the mission and vision of Eliot Chapel. For those who may not have visited this lovely part of the world, Bergfried is the property that Eliot Chapel owns near Herman at the junction of the Gasconade and Missouri rivers. Bergfried was given to us by the Lingenfelder family, and our Bergfried Covenant of March 22nd, 1965 is, quote, to keep it natural, end quote, in line with Dr. Carl Lingenfelder's vision of a place in nature that can be restorative and health promoting. In the years since, we have made many improvements to the property to make it more accessible to the Eliot congregation and for other groups and individuals in support of that covenant. Bergfried was given to us more than 55 years ago, and since that time, the cost of improvements and maintenance has been and continues to be paid for out of the proceeds of occasional timber sales, quarrying, federal and state grants to manage the land, rentals, and the sale of little-used acreage 5 years ago. The timber sales are part of a planned, sustainable management of the land and are not done by clear-cutting, but rather by removing specific trees, some valuable like walnut and oak, and some undesirable species like sugar maple. Oak and walnut
provide food for a multitude of animals, including deer and birds. It is necessary to remove some trees in order to provide room for desirable trees to grow. Bergfried still has an imbalance in oak age classes, with too many old trees and not nearly enough young ones, sort of like this congregation. Our professionally defined management plans govern when and what to thin during a timber sale, and when controlled burns should be done to remove undesirable undergrowth in the forest. All this work is hard and can be expensive, but the Bergfried team has been successful in getting grants from both the U.S. Department of Agriculture and the Missouri Department of Conservation that cover about 60% of the budgeted cost. Thus far, we have been able to use volunteers for much of this work. For example, for the most recent prescribed burn and forest stand improvement project over the last 3 years, the USDA granted us a total of $23,140 to cover 60% of the budgeted costs. But because we used volunteer labor for a significant part of the work, Eliot members and also Mizzou forestry students, our out-of-pocket costs were only $16,307, which means that this project resulted in a net gain to Eliot of $6,833 in just the last 3 years. In addition to the forests, Bergfried has 2 large meadows that were converted from row crops to native prairie grasses. The conversion went fairly well for a number of years, helped by periodic burning, but in the last 6 or 8 years, the meadows have been overrun by the foreign invasive Sericea lepidasia. The Bergfried team is devoting much effort in confronting this invader. But Bergfried isn't just for the animals and the health of the land. Bergfried helps us meet our mission to provide a safe and restorative place for people as well. It is used regularly by Eliot members and friends for camping, hiking, and gatherings such as the Men's Advance this weekend and the Family Weekend over Memorial Day. And Bergfried is a critical resource for others as well. As an example, the Metro Trans umbrella group reserves Bergfried frequently for group camping weekends. Bergfried is a place where they are safe and welcomed. Not all people feel safe and welcomed when camping in state parks. As you can see, Bergfried helps Eliot Chapel meet our vision of creating a just world through vibrant, beloved community. At Bergfried, we have created a sacred space where all are welcome and where at least a small portion of Mother Earth is being cared for in its natural state of breathing in carbon and breathing out oxygen, nourishing our bodies and souls.
Brought the wrong piece of paper. Hotel Earth. What if Earth were run like a hotel? At birth, you would provide a valid credit card. And at the end of your life, when you check out, so to speak, you would be charged for any stolen or broken items. To pay for the repair or replacement of the damage that you caused, any harm that you caused to the earth. Excess carbon dioxide from your car, old growth forests cut down to make your toilet paper, gold and diamonds mined from the earth, water polluted from the fertilizer used to grow the crops you eat. The list of small and large harms that we cause is endless. If this were Hotel Earth, chances are we would each be a bit more careful, knowing that even the smallest of actions harming Hotel Earth would appear as an item on our bill. Clearly, this is not how it works. Hotel Earth has no way of individually charging us for the many harms that we cause, some through carelessness, but many simply because we live in, because we live in an industrialized society, in a city with few options to make those drastic changes. Nonetheless, how we view our relationship with the earth greatly impacts whether or not we do make changes in the face of local and global environmental challenges. Many of you have made large steps, purchasing electric vehicles, biking rather than driving, installing solar panels, eating more plants and fewer animals, planting native gardens. Probably all of you have taken many small steps, recycling, using less paper, turning off the lights, taking shorter showers, not littering, not burning your own trash, buying recycled or upcycled clothing. Many small steps taken by many people make for big changes. We've made some changes here at Eliot. Several years ago, Jim Lyon changed many of the light bulbs here from incandescent to LED. The landscaping company that's used to care for the lawn uses environmentally friendly products. Kaylin Ponchi has organized a sign-up sheet for recycling here at Eliot. And your garden team is slowly removing the invasive plants such as honeysuckle and replacing them with Missouri native plants. And we continue to dream of solar panels on the roof here at Eliot. I hope you continue to think about Hotel Earth. How can you be an advocate for Hotel Earth? Ed Shue writes editorials for the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. Can you? Can you suggest changes to your city council, the county council, your state and federal representatives? My dream this Earth Day is that Eliot Chapel and its members become the change makers, become advocates for the earth. After all, there is no planet B.
My reflection is taken from the request from Interfaith Power and Light, which makes it sound like a bunch of congregations now provide utilities, but actually they help us think about the various energy resources and climate and how, as people of faith, we can work together to save the planet and each other. They put forth the idea of the golden rule and the earth. And perhaps you remember that only a few weeks ago, Scott and I, in A Time for All Ages, talked about how the golden rule has some limitations, and that often people more and more are exploring the idea of the platinum rule. That while the golden rule suggests that we do unto others as we would have others do unto us, the platinum rule says that we should do unto others as they themselves would wish to be done unto. But we also acknowledged that it isn't that the golden rule is wrong, it's just that we learn that all perspectives can grow and take in other ideas, which is exactly the point of the platinum rule. We've learned that we don't all think alike. We don't all have the same existence and the same experiences, and so we need things that help us understand more fully how to be mutual, how to be aware together, how to really see each other more fully. If you look at the cover of the Order of Service, this is actually taken from the material from Interfaith Power and Light. And if you look around that circle of various ideas that in some way correspond, you'll notice that in the corner there is Unitarianism and our own principle. It isn't so much that it is one particular idea, but a call throughout these faith traditions for a mutuality, for an interdependence, for a care and an awareness that how we choose to journey together makes a considerable and powerful difference. Our faiths, plural, have called us since the beginning of human history to think deeply about our lives. And the very first call, if you really think about it, was the earth itself. The first progenitor of all deep questions for our forebears was how they would survive the harsh winter, or the hurricane, or the volcano, or the mastodon that was crashing through their village. The earth presented life and death again and again to our ancestors. And they believed that that was what shaped their lives. And it is still true to this day. How might the planet more deeply shape what we do here at Eliot? We know that it is an essential part of who we are, but it doesn't really always feel like it flows through the heart of our work. It's one of the many things that we attend to. But I believe that what the earth asks of us, how we are part of it, what it does in the very core of our being, is the most powerful component of our life, our shared time here, of what it is that we are called to do. It springs always from that deep connection and source. And so, how might we think a little more deeply about this time, this place in the planet's history, which does seem incredibly dire and urgent? We know by just experiencing what is around us that the changes feel very, very extreme and are only becoming more so. I mean, watching the Weather Channel is sort of like watching a horror movie these days. And so, what is it that we might do if we used the earth as a source of our faithful ethics and action? Well, one of the things that it asks us to do is actually something that we already do and might do in more abundance. Katharine Hayhoe, which many of you probably have seen, she has really of late been on the news and shows quite often, began her career as a professor of atmospheric science in Lubbock, Texas, which is one of the most conservative areas in the United States. And at the end of her very first lecture at that school in Lubbock, Texas, after everyone pretty much through the entire lecture either had their head on the desk or they were reading their phone, she asked if there were any questions. And she was at first heartened by the fact that one young man out in the classroom raised his hand and then asked, "You're a Democrat, aren't you?" To which, after a moment, she replied, "No, I'm Canadian." But she has experienced in her work, and I am sure we have too, that people not only in the United States, but more and more in Canada and all over the world are likely to be influenced not by the facts that are out in front of us in terms of climate change, but by where they are on the political continuum. The facts are pretty much the same for all of us, but all of us are deeply influenced by the ideals that shape us. the very values that are at our core, they speak more loudly, and certainly Unitarian Universalists are no different. Even though we value the rational and the facts, our heritage is full of people who took risks that no set of facts or no rational mind would understand as the smart and prudent thing to do, but the thing that one must do to live a life of true meaning and true connection. So, she suggests that when we come together to talk about climate and we start with the facts, all we do is greater chance of division and difficulty between us. Facts are not the way to start the conversation. I mean, at some point they have to come into it. But she believes that what we are called to do and what she has experienced is to begin with people talking from their heart. And most importantly, from their own lives. Rather than beginning about global warming, whether you believe it or not, to talk about what it is that you care about. Do you have children? What do you hope for them? What in your daily life is most meaningful? What have you experienced on this planet that has given you deep joy or life itself? That if you begin with those places of common experience and then help each other connect the dots, that there's often much greater potential for us to find a common path, to work on things that we care about together. It is true right now that about 70% of people in the United States believe that the climate is changing, and 60% agree that it will harm plants, animals, and future generations. But only about 60% of us believe that it will affect people in the United States. Only about 40% of us think that it will affect us personally. And when asked if they ever talk with people around them about climate change, nearly 2/3 of us have said never. Unitarian Universalists do one thing extremely well. We hold meaningful discussions like no one else. But we do it in a way that draws from very old learning about making space for people to be who they are at the table, to bring their own ideas, to not try to mirror each other, but to speak our own truth and do the difficult work of figuring that out. You've already, in thinking about your mission, talked about maybe Eliot can be a place in this community and in the larger community that offers space for people to talk through, to work through together some of these divisive issues of race and climate and the political divisions. There is important work that you can do, and you are doing, and I hope will continue to deepen. We may move forward together, but if we move forward into what is true on this planet, it won't be based on fear. It will be based on a rational hope. We will be called together not by easy tropes that speak a common language, but by a common heart that understands that deep within us, this is what is at stake. This life that we share and that we hope for our children is what matters most. This is what we must do. In 2004, in accepting the Nobel Peace Prize, Wangari Maathai, in her acceptance speech, talked about her work in the Green Belt movement in Nigeria. And at the end, she said this: "We are called to assist the earth, to heal her wounds, and in the process, heal our own." On this Earth Day, may we rededicate ourselves to that work. It has never been more essential. Will you join me in our closing hymn, rising in the ways that we do and turning to 1064 Blue Boat Home. Thich Nhat Hanh wrote, "The bells of mindfulness are sounding over all the earth. We are experiencing floods, droughts, wildfires. Sea ice is melting in the Arctic. The forests are fast disappearing and the deserts growing. And yet we continue to consume, ignoring the bells. So let us pause. Let us listen. May we hear the bells calling us forward to what we must do." We extinguish this light, but not the light of that larger wisdom, not the fire of our commitment to change the world, each in our own way and together, not in the warmth of love. That will remain until we gather together again. I invite you to receive one more gift of music before we leave.
Come to know
Thank you for joining us today. I hope that you will now join us in coffee hour through those doors to Adams Hall. As you are journeying either to coffee hour or out, please take a moment to say hello to someone that you've not said hello to, and may you be blessed through this week. We'll see you here next weekend.